Hello, how are you today? I hope you're fine. I hope you're doing very well. I am Olowo Esther, and this video is brought to you by Igota Learning Platform. I hope you're ready for today's class. You have gotten your paper and your pen ready, and your mindset also to gain abundantly from today's class. I believe you are going to have a great experience today. All right, so let's delve into today's work. Today we will be talking about adverbs, more on adverbs. Already in my previous video, we discussed adverbs, and now we are going to continue with it. We looked at the elementary aspects of adverbs, the meaning of adverbs, the types of adverbs, and we gave a variety of examples. All right, in today's lesson, I want us to continue with the topic adverbs again. There are a whole lot of things, like I said in the other class, that you need to learn in this topic adverbs, because it is a part of speech that you will be coming across every day in your encounter with the English language. Just like every other part of speech, adverbs are very important in your day-to-day communication, and especially in your preparation for the comprehension aspect of your English language examinations. All right, so we will delve straight into the topic. Initially, we talked about the meaning of adverbs. But before we go to that, we will be looking at what we did in the last class briefly. Okay, so for the purpose of today's lesson, we will be able to do some things. At the end of today's lesson, you should be able to identify and classify different types of adverbs, just as we did in the last class. At the end of this lesson also, you should be able to identify and classify the different types of adverbs that we have discussed and we will still mention again in today's class, as regards to adverbs of manner, adverbs of time, adverbs of place, adverbs of frequency, and adverbs of degree, just as we mentioned in the previous class. Also, you should be able to demonstrate understanding of adverb usage by constructing sentences. By the time since you have known the adverbs, you should be able to construct sentences with appropriate adverbs to modify verbs and adjectives. Just as you know that those are the functions, those are some of the major functions of an adverb, you should be able to use them to construct sentences that modify verbs and adjectives. Okay, so an adverb, like we said in the other class, modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb by providing information about how, when, where, or to what extent an action is performed or an attribute is described. That is telling us that an adverb is a word that tells us more about the verb in a sentence. It describes the attribute of an adjective or even another adverb by giving us more information, more information about the adverb or the adjective or a verb, as the case may be. Okay, so we also said that adverbs are usually formed by adding ly to the end of an adjective. When you have an adjective, and you remember, an adjective qualifies a noun or pronoun. An adjective qualifies a noun or pronoun. Now, when you have an adjective as quick, the adjective quick, The adjective quick is capable of describing a noun or a pronoun. But that by the time you add an ly to quick, you have quickly. So that way, an adverb of manner is formed. Okay, when you add ly to quick, you get quickly. That way, an adverb of manner has been formed. So I told you that majority of adverbs are formed like this, and they are called adverbs of manner. Although there are also other adverbs that don't have this ending. Adverbs of place don't have this ending. Adverbs of degree don't have this ending. Adverbs of time don't have this ending. Adverbs of certainty don't have this ending. Only adverbs of manner end in ly. Now I'm going to briefly explain how adverbs modify verbs, how they modify adjectives, and how they modify other adverbs. And those are the uses of adverbs, uses or functions of adverbs. They modify verbs, they modify adjectives, and they modify other adverbs. Adverbs add detail to actions. Like I said earlier, they add more detail to actions, enhancing verbs. That is, they give us more enhanced meaning of verbs. For instance, she sings beautifully. Sings there is a verb, so we wouldn't be able to know how she does the action of singing if we don't have the action, the adverb beautifully. So beautifully is telling us how she sings, which is an adverb of manner. She sings beautifully. How does she sing? Beautifully. Okay, that is an example of an adverb modifying a verb. Adverb also modify adjectives to show intensity, to show the intensity of the attribute or quality of the adjective that we are talking about. For example, in the word, in the phrase extremely hot weather. This is an extremely hot weather. The extremely is an intensifier. It's showing us the intensity of the hotness of the weather. So that is an adverb of degree. It tells us the intensity of the hotness of the weather. So that is an adverb modifying an adjective. Adverbs of degree modify adjectives to show us the extent of the quality that we are talking about. Okay, then adverbs modify other adverbs. That is, adverbs modify one another. Adverbs modify each other. Adverbs modify adverbs, adding more detail to sentences for clarity and precision. We will be looking more at that as we continue in today's discussion. Okay, so like I said in the previous class, let us quickly look at the types of adverbs that we have. We have that of manner, e.g., Anna laughed loudly. Loudly is an adverb of manner, telling us how Anna laughed. Adverbs of time tell us the point to the time of an action. I'll see you tomorrow. Modifies the verb see. It modifies the verb see. Then we also have adverbs of place. Hey, come here. An example, hey, come here. Here is modifying the adverb come, showing the place. Then frequency. Adverbs of frequency. Olivia usually exercises. That is an adverb of frequency also, telling us the frequency of the action performed. How often does Olivia exercise? Usually. Okay, so those are the types of adverbs that there are. Then we also have adverbs of certainty, adverbs of degree, adverbs of certainty, adverbs of degree, and a whole lot of them. We will be mentioning them as this class unfolds. Alright, so quickly, it is important to identify what positions can you find an adverb in a sentence. What position can you find an adverb in a sentence? Do they come before the verbs they modify or after the verb they modify? When they come before the verbs they modify, what do we call them? When they come after the verb they modify, what do we call them? When they come before a statement, what do we call them? When they come in between two statements, what do we call them? So these are many more things we need to learn about adverbs. And remember that I told you that a single word that modifies a verb, an adjective, and other adverbs is called an adverb, while a group of words is called an adverbial. Do not forget. Now, placement in a sentence. In general, adverbs should be placed as close as possible to the words they are intended to modify. So whenever you are trying to identify an adverb, they are usually close to the adverb they modify. To the verb, adjective, or other adverbs that they modify. So whenever you want to place an adverb, put it close to the word that they modify. Putting the adverb in the wrong position can produce an awkward sentence. Yes, it can produce an awkward sentence. It can produce an ambiguous sentence whenever you put the adverb in the wrong position. So putting the adverb in the wrong spot can produce an awkward sentence at best and completely change the meaning at worst. Yes, it can change the meaning of what you intend to pass across, and it can also disrupt the meaning of the sentence. It can disrupt the excellence of the sentence you're constructing. So the position of an adverb in a sentence is very, very important. Consider the difference in meaning between the following two sentences. I almost dropped all the papers. And I dropped almost all the papers. Here, in those two sentences, the positions of the adverbs are very important. In the first sentence, I almost dropped all the papers. Here, almost modifies the verb dropped. Almost modifies the verb dropped. That is to tell you that, okay, I almost dropped all the papers. Meaning, probably the speaker here was shocked and didn't know when she almost dropped all the papers. That is the meaning of that first statement. Then the second statement means I dropped almost all the papers. Means I dropped almost. I didn't drop a little part. I didn't drop some of the papers, but I dropped almost all the papers. I dropped almost all the papers. So the two sentences means two different things, and that is because of the placement of the adverbs. Okay, so an adverb can come before the verb or after the verb to mean different things. To have different meanings. That is to tell us the importance of placement of adverbs in a sentence. Okay, so for the purpose of clarity, we're going to be examining some positions that adverbs are supposed to occupy. Positions that some adverbs are supposed to occupy is what we want to see now. So like I said earlier, get your pen and your book and write down these points. 1. Adverbs of manner usually go after the verb. Adverbs of manner usually go after the verb and not before the verb. For example, he drove carefully, not he carefully drove. He drove carefully. So in that case, drove is a verb and carefully is coming after it as an adverb of manner. How did he drive? Carefully. Okay. 2. Adverbs of frequency usually go before the main verb. Adverbs of frequency usually go before the main verb. Okay, remember that we usually have an auxiliary verb and a main verb in a sentence. Okay, so adverbs of frequency usually go before the main verb. For example, I often exercise in the morning. Exercise here is the main verb, and often is the adverb of frequency. Not I exercise often in the morning. No. I often exercise in the morning. I always exercise in the morning. I seldom exercise in the morning. I usually exercise in the morning. Okay. Then 3. Adverbs of place usually go after the verb. Adverbs of place usually go after the verb. Example, they live near the park. They live near the park. Adverbs of place usually go after the verb, not before the verb now. Remember, adverbs of frequency and adverbs of manner usually come before the verb, but adverbs of place usually come after the verb. Okay, they live near the park, not they near leave the park. No, they live near the park. They live outside the park. They live inside the park. Not they inside leave the park. No. Adverbs of place will always come after the verb they modify. Okay. Now let us look at more examples to show us the position of adverbs in some sentences. 1. Anna coughed loudly to attract Olivia's attention. Anna coughed loudly to attract Olivia's attention. Loudly there is the adverb coming before the verb, coming after. Coughed is the verb, loudly is the adverb. Coming after the verb, it modifies. He ate the chocolate cake greedily. That is an adverb of manner, telling us how he ate the chocolate cake. Anna coughed loudly. The loudly is also an adverb of manner. Remember, adverbs of manner end in ly. I always sleep in the mornings. I always sleep in the mornings. Always there is an adverb of frequency, telling us how often she sleeps in the morning. Okay, so it's telling us how often she sleeps in the mornings. Now, if we place always after sleep, it will become I sleep always in the mornings. I sleep always in the mornings. That means every mornings she sleeps. But it's going to be very perfect if we place it before the adverb, before the verb sleep. I always sleep in the mornings. That is how it should be. It should be the adverb here should come before the verb it modifies. We'll go to the beach tomorrow. We'll go to the beach tomorrow. That is tomorrow is when we are going to the beach. However, for more emphasis, you can decide to put the tomorrow before the sentence. Tomorrow we'll go to the beach. Tomorrow we'll go to the beach. That is, we are not going on any other day but tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll go to the beach. It's different from we'll go to the beach tomorrow. We can still decide to change it. If we say we'll go tomorrow, we'll go to the beach tomorrow. But by the time we say tomorrow, there is more emphasis on tomorrow. By the time we put tomorrow as first in the sentence, tomorrow we'll go to the beach. So in that case, tomorrow will be modifying the old sentence. And it will mean that that is exactly what we want to do tomorrow. We are doing no other thing than to go to the beach. She stepped out to get some fresh air. She stepped out to get some fresh air. The out air is the adverb of place. adverb of place, telling us telling us where the person we are talking about stepped to. She stepped out to get some fresh air. So out is the adverb of place. Okay, if I'm to underline the adverbial of place, it will be she stepped out to get some fresh air. If I'm to underline to get some fresh air, to get some fresh air is an adverbial clause of reason. Okay, by the time we are talking about adverbials, you will understand adverbial clauses and adverbial phrases better. Okay. Alright, it's time to further test our knowledge on adverbs with some past like questions. Okay. 1. What is the correct position of the adverb hardly in the following sentence? What is the correct position of the adverb hardly in the following sentence? She slept last night. Where are you going to place hardly? A. She hardly slept last night. She slept hardly last night. She slept hardly last night. Slept last night. She hardly last night slept last night. Okay. I hope you have found the answer. The answer is hardly. And that will be she hardly slept last night. Okay. That is an adverb of manner. She hardly slept last night. Okay.